anyway.
Okay.
Because like right behind our house is a movie theater and a gas station, and there's a little bit of like a wooded area in between them. So like we see feral cats back there. So I'm not surprised. Although their mom, Maddie, said that she saw a collar on the mom. Which is odd because she totally had her babies in our front yard.
Wow.
Yeah. So, who is to know? But there's also an orange tabby cat next door, and I'm like, are you the father? At least of these two. Okay. We are live, and we are also streaming on Twitter.
Nice.
Yes. Oh my goodness. For anybody around. Here's beans. What if I just do the entire podcast like this?
They're too cute. I can't.
I got the kitties. Okay, go to bed. Go to bed. Go to bed. They won't.
I feel like this whole, like our whole podcast MO is like Supergirl and cats.
Honestly, I just like usually black cats, but today it's 2 gray tabbies and 2 orange tabbies, and I didn't mean to have them in my house, but here we are.
We're changing it up.
Next week, it'll be the deer that are currently at my front door. I guess this is what happens when you live in Georgia.
Yeah. It's not happening here.
Oh, my parents we live in the same city now, my parents, but they have a ton of deer in their backyard pretty much all the time. And now since we moved, because we were in more of a neighborhood with a couple big streets before we bought this house, so we didn't have them then, but now we have them back because we're in the woods a little bit more. And growing up like right outside of Atlanta, we had like coyotes and stuff a lot.
I'm not down with coyotes.
No, they would eat the cats.
Yeah.
Not our cats, but I knew multiple people growing up. We never really let our cats out, but I knew a lot of people growing up whose like cats would disappear, and we would all like the neighborhood would be like, "Oh, the coyote's back," and I was like,
Yeah.
"That's the most depressing thing in the world."
It really is.
This is part of living in the American South, I suppose.
Among other things. Sorry, Aaron.
There are other things. There's a Confederate flag house right there. Luckily, my immediate neighbors are gay and not Confederates. So,
Good.
Yeah, it's fine. But if you go a little further down the street, there's a Confederate flag house, and I wish I could say that was few and far between, but it is not.
Right. I don't understand it. And like I said, I grew up in West Virginia, and they left
West Virginia is even funnier.
join
Yes.
the Union. So it
The
doesn't make
Union.
sense why they are Confederate flag. Yeah. Like our whole existence is because we weren't part of the Confederacy.
Yeah. And West Virginia was my favorite to drive through on the way back to Pitt when I lived there, because there's like Stonewall Jackson State Park, is it? The president of the Confederacy, who like West Virginia literally exists to not be part of the Confederate. It just makes me laugh.
Yeah. That is a lack of education.
Yeah.
And the thing is, every student in West Virginia in 8th grade has to take West Virginia history.
Oh yeah, we have to take Georgia history. But like I've been driving through like New York and Pennsylvania before, and there's still Confederate flag signs, and I'm like, you were never what?
Right.
Like
that just means
I mean, it definitely means you're just racist, but in the
Right.
South, they like to be like, heritage, not hate. And we're all like, no, you're stupid. It's hate. But like, once you get to like Pennsylvania and New York, it's like, you can't even say that.
It's straight up hate.
Like, yeah. You can't even pretend to have an excuse. Anyways, that's been Racism Corner. We start the podcast with, oh no, we're both from the South Corner.
Right. But I'm not. That's the thing. Not
That's true.
technically.
Not really. Although now I would argue.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of different now. I don't feel like it was like super different when I grew up, so just at one time it was.
Yep. You still have the accent though.
Yeah, I do, unfortunately. Just on some of my words, I feel like.
Yeah, I only
eyes
get
are
it
the worst.
sometimes. Or when I'm talking to my extended family. Eyes are bad, or when you accidentally say like oil. Oil.
Yeah, Iowa.
Oil.
That's the one that gets me.
There is
All
a
right.
tiny kitten attached to my foot right now. I just want everyone to know. Yeah, before we start, if at any point I'm just holding the world's smallest kitten, I accidentally became a foster parent today, so just ignore it.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
A foster parent to 4.
A foster parent of 4 tiny kittens. They will not be mine. I swear.
You can start adopting them out here.
I know, they
But
said
they
that
have
they're
to-
available in 2 weeks. Hey, if anybody is within like a 6-hour drive of Atlanta, Georgia, I will bring you a cat. You have to somehow prove to me that you're not gonna like murder me, but honestly, anywhere between here and Columbus, Ohio, in a circle. I've extended it now to 9 hours. Please take
I
these
was gonna
cats
say,
so I don't have to. Well, if I have to go to Columbus or Pittsburgh, I have friends there.
yeah.
I
was gonna say
won't
though, you've
go.
left the 6-hour radius.
Yeah, I won't go 6 or 7 hours west because that would just land me in Mississippi, and my gay ass doesn't need to be there.
Nope.
So,
sorry,
anyways,
Mississippi.
If you're within a reasonable day's drive of Atlanta, Georgia, please take these cats. They're very cute.
All right. I guess we should probably get started.
Probably.
All right. Hello and welcome to this episode of Pot Off Course, where we discuss the CW TV show Supergirl through a LGBTQIA+ lens. My name's Shelly and my pronouns are they, them.
My name is Erin and my pronouns are they, them.
And on today's show, we're going to discuss Supergirl Season 6, Episode 5, Prom Night. And the official summary reads, Nia and Brainy attempt to save Supergirl from the Phantom Zone by traveling back to Kara's home in 2009. While determined to secure the item needed to help Supergirl, Brainy is worried about keeping a low profile so as not to alter the future timeline. However, when their ship crashes upon arrival, a young Kara Danvers is the first on the scene. Meanwhile, a young reporter named Kat Grant sets her sights on Midvale as she suspects there is a big story in the small town. This episode was amazing.
Plot hole and continuity wise, except for one thing, garbage. Entertainment wise, so fucking good.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite episodes of Supergirl now, and I don't care what it did or undid. Like, it was so entertaining. And like, something I have in my notes, which we'll just talk about real quick, is that like, the fact that Melissa Benoist is not going to be in 2 of the final season's episodes makes me sad, but also I still loved it. Like, Kara was still there. And I love the Midvale episode, so like that part makes me sad, but 2 things can be true. And this episode was just so, it just made me so happy. And it
It was
didn't
so
do
good.
anything that made me want to scream. So
No,
yeah,
it was so good.
I
And
can't wait for the next one.
No, me neither. That's like the top of my notes. This is probably one of my favorite Supergirl episodes ever.
I agree. And so is Midvale. And I want the spinoff right now.
And it's just because I think it's like happy. You know what I mean? Like the drama is there in a way, but it's humorous and it's light, and that's the things that I like about Supergirl.
Well, and the thing that Supergirl season 1 did so well that makes it so many people's first like favorite season is that it was funny in the way that it was like kind of it was like more comedy than drama in a lot of ways. And Supergirl does comedy very well because it like in general has like the whole thing has a sense of whimsy about it. And it's just like when they're funny, they're really good. And when they're dramatic, they miss a lot of the time. So
Right.
but like when they're dramatic, I think they tried too hard. And so they do things to increase drama that make it a lot more difficult to enjoy. And the comedy is just like it's just easy.
Yeah. It comes easier to the actors, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But Isabella Vidovic and Olivia Nakanen, is that Nakanen?
I don't know how to say it, but
they're absolutely amazing.
They're great. Like, and they both look so much like their older versions. It's insane. And there are times when they sound like them.
Yeah, they do. And Eliza Helm, who played Kat, or CJ Grant in this case, they are like all three of those actresses just have the mannerisms down of the characters of the older actresses that play those parts as well. It's incredible.
At one point, Kat says, "This is a shadow," and it sounded exactly like Kat Grant. And I was like, "What did Eliza Grant do?" Like,
right?
That's her name, right? Eliza Grant.
Helm.
God, Grant. Oh wow, my brain. Eliza Helm.
You're fine.
I knew it was a short name. Like, did she just watch every like Cat? I'm sure she did. Watched every Cat scene like over and over and over again because she did it so well that I was almost distracted.
Yeah, even the way she held the coffee cup, which is ridiculous, was very Cat Grant-esque. I mean, you know me, like I'm all over season 1 Cat Grant, and she nailed it. I was very doubtful. I was actually not looking forward to it, because I thought it would just be, in my mind, even if she was good, like it's still not Callista Flockhart. But she did a really excellent job, and I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was awesome. I thought she did an amazing job, and she'll be in the next one, which is exciting.
Yeah. There was only one thing I did not like that Kat said, and that was that she drove to Midvale from Metropolis in 3 hours. Which would
Isn't Metropolis like New York City?
It's in the Northeast. It's not New York City. As of late, I feel like they've had it in like Delaware, which sounds insane, but
odd. But it's somewhere up there.
Yeah.
Which that's is like a 6-hour flight.
Right. It's close to Gotham, which is like New Jersey, I think. But yeah, and National City is supposed to be California, so
3 hours. I'm sorry, do they have a speed rail on Earth 1? Earth Prime?
I don't well, she said she drove, so
I
don't know.
You could not fly between Delaware and California in 3 hours.
No. Maybe 4, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's like 4 or 5.
If it's like nonstop, and it's one, and I forget which way it is, but it's only one of the ways. Maybe it's on the way back, it's faster.
think on the way
because
back
of the
is
jet stream?
longer.
Okay.
I don't remember. I've only been to California one time, and both times were red eye, so it's not like I was paying attention.
Yeah. But I thought she did an excellent job aside from that. And that's not her. I mean, that's the
Yeah,
writing.
that's not her fault. Speaking of writing, something I thought was interesting was so Nia asks Brainy if he's nervous about going back in time because the last time he did it, he was off by 15,000 years, which was in season 3 when they like accidentally crashed and just like put themselves in hypersleep for 12,000 years. And Brainy corrected her and was like, technically it was 12,000 years. And I'm like, I'm sorry. You can get the distinction between 12,000 and 15,000 years right, but you can't get 24 and 10 when it was
Right.
literally in the title segment. Like,
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense at all.
Like, who was in charge of checking that 12,000 number, and why haven't they been doing their job any other time?
And why don't they know where Metropolis is?
Right.
There is a Metropolis, Illinois, but that's like a little tiny
Still
town.
not a 3-hour drive to California.
No, it's not.
That's still a good 12 hours.
Right.
At least.
Especially since I think Midvale is like would be like north of LA maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Or because I feel like National City would be like between San Diego and LA.
Yeah. I would assume so.
But I don't know. Whatever. I shouldn't be surprised. That was extra shocking. Like that they made that error. So Brainy and Nia's ship break down when they head to the past to get some of Kara's DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And when they're on the baseball field saying, Nia and Brainy saying that they can't be seen, and like as soon as that leaves Nia's mouth, Kara yells, "Oh my gosh, did you just come out of that spaceship?"
Did you just come out of that? And Brady being like, these are the exact people we are not supposed to be interacting with.
This whole episode was just hilarious. Brainy was like on point for this whole episode.
He was so good. I mean, we all know Jesse Rath is amazing, but just like the way he talks and the emphasis that he puts on certain words that doesn't make sense, like he's so good.
He does an amazing job.
That bat thing I have watched 100 times.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Which he actually did. I was looking at it trying to be like, what wires what is going on? And then I was like, no, he did that though. And was also talking. Like, the fuck?
The part that gets me like is when he's getting ready to like swing and he does that spin and then like goes right into a swing. It's incredible.
Yeah, the horizontal one.
Yeah.
The whole thing is like, did he already know how to do that? And that's why they put it in, probably.
I saw pictures of him like, I don't know if he was practicing. It appeared he was practicing.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it's just like a trick that he has up his sleeve, but it is awesome.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they like wrote in that baseball thing and they just like saw him do that and they were like, no, you gotta do that.
Right. And I don't know, maybe Jesse Rath played baseball and like growing up or something. I'm not sure.
That's what I was wondering. I have no idea, but that was so impressive. I want to know how to do it so bad. I also want to go play baseball.
Yeah, me too. I love that they took the names Brandon and Brenda from 90210. Hilarious. They should have caught that. Like, at least Alex should have caught that.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see. The other thing that like happened right after that, Brainy laughing at Kenny's computer and then him sitting down typing one-handed was hilarious.
Having a full conversation.
Yeah.
Yes. Brief sidebar. Papaya was just attempting to crawl into my slipper.
No.
A sweet bean. The other three are stacked, like the clown scarves in the bed, or like human centipede. But I feel like that's a little vulgar for kittens. But they are all like face to butt.
Trying to keep warm.
Yeah, being cute. Yeah, everything that Brainy and Kenny did in this episode was just beautiful. They were so funny together. And Nia and Brainy were so funny together.
Yeah. It was crazy sad, Nia realizing that her mom was actually still alive in this time period.
Yes, and that I checked on IMDb just to be sure, but that was actually Kate Burton's voice. Which I thought was cool. Yeah, I was like, it sounds like her, but seems like a weird thing to get Kate Burton because she can't be cheap.
I mean, they had her picture. I don't know if that counts as anything or if like actors get credit for that.
I'm sure it's something in a contract, like we're allowed to use your photo for whatever. But yeah, it was actually her voice, which I thought was really cool. I mean, I'm sure it's easy to do. All she had to do was record it on a voice memo, and like send it in an email. But I thought that was cool that it was actually her. It makes me wonder if she's going to show up.
I hope so. I really do. Like, not only just because she's awesome, oh god, but also for Nia.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm breaking things here in my house.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, no, I mean, I love Kate Burton, so I would love for her to come back. And I love Nia, and like the fact that she's bringing up all this stuff gives me a little bit of hope that she's gonna work things out, or not work things out, but at least revisit the Nia family thing, because they kind of just left that in season 4, and I'm like, I don't need them to be friends. Like Nia can tell her sister to fuck off, but I just want them to wrap that up somehow.
Yeah, me too. I don't know about Nia not knowing what the pink cat is. Like, she works at Catco. So I know that pink cat's been destroyed like a million times, but it had to have been there at some point when she worked there.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Also, like Nia and Kara showing each other their powers. That was super cute.
Oh, it was the cutest, and Alex being such a hard ass about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really awesome. Yeah, she has Alex's like sternness down, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. And I thought it was cute, Kara being like, you'll get used to her, and Nia being like, I think I could do that. Like,
yeah.
Or Kara said something like she can be a hard ass sometimes or something like that, and Nia was like, I think I can get used to it. It's just so sweet. I truly, I know we mentioned this last time, but it's going to be interesting to see if Alex and Kara, once they get her back, if they remember this now.
They have to, right? I mean,
they must.
I wonder, like, I don't know. I feel like they could just tell them they were from the future. How is that any stranger than
anything else that's happened in their lives?
Exactly.
Yeah. They could literally just be like, hey, Kara, we need... this is what I don't understand. They could have gone... Well, there's a lot that I don't understand, which we went over last time. But they could have gone back at any point in time and just popped up and been like, hey, Kara. Like, even if it were in... After, like, Nia and Brainy were part of the team, they could have just popped up and been like, hey, we're time traveling. We need some of your DNA. Can I cut you with this kryptonite briefly? They would have been like, okay. Like, sure. Right. Fix it. Whatever it is. Like,
or get, like, a whole syringe of her blood. Like, Alex had, like, kryptonite
which
needles,
Alex
right?
did. Yeah, well, Alex did take her blood in Human for a Day.
Yeah.
So, like, it's just so silly. Like, this is the hardest way to do this. is to go back to these like teens and like try to covertly do this when you literally like just pop up and be like, hey, we need your blood. You'll thank us later. Like,
Right.
okay.
But
And
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I'm pretty sure in the next episode, based on the like the photos and stuff, like I know Alex said in the previous episode that they were going back into a time when Kara solar flared. But when they were talking about it this episode, they were pretty much just talking about like mild kryptonite poisoning, which then, because Alex was like, Kara punched a meteor and it cut up her hand, shouldn't mention anything about solar flaring. So like they could have gone back to any time.
Right. Exactly. So this was probably one of the first episodes they filmed coming back, I would think, because Melissa wasn't involved at all.
I would assume so, yeah.
Maybe that's why like they didn't have. I kind of get why they didn't have Alex and Jean go. Like it made sense what Brainy said. Like they both existed. Obviously, Alex looked a bit different, but I think that's just like a technicality for the younger actress. But Jean would look the same.
Yeah. I guess my question is, why couldn't Lena go? But I mean, she was Lena Luthor. I'm sure in 2009 people would have known who that was.
Was she in that scene at the very beginning?
No.
I don't think so. I think they were like very limited. It was probably still like, since it was early on, like COVID restrictions were greater.
Mm-hmm.
No vaccines yet, so I'm sure they were being careful as far as how many people they allowed.
Yeah, well, if you think about it, this whole episode, like the most people they had at the same time was 4.
Or 5, if it was like
At the very beginning, sure.
Kenny and Alex and
Oh yeah, Kenny,
Kara
Alex, Kara, Brainy, yeah, 5. But most of them, like, it was 3 with Nia, Alex, and Kara, or 2 with Brainy and Kenny, and 2 with the blue aliens, who I'm trying not to refer to as Kree.
Oh, but yeah, that I mean, I guess that's probably like they just had limitations at that point, which
Yeah.
I
totally
get.
tracks. Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite line of the whole episode was from Brainy. There's nothing women like more than physics well applied. That and a modicum of emotional vulnerability.
Yeah. So good. Literally everything Brittany said in this episode was just golden.
It really was. Like I'm gonna keep that one like in my back pocket for a rainy day.
Work that into my vows.
Right. Nia and Kara standing behind Alex at the college was hilarious.
In their sunglasses.
Yeah.
And Alex, who's what, like 19 at this point? Like, she's not a professor.
Right. She doesn't look that old.
No.
Come on, Cat Grant. I think they used most of their. I know we've been complaining on and off about the special effects, and I've read like various complaints about how weak they are. I think they spent it all on the. I think that's where the whole special effect budget went.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
Groundhog Day.
Mm-hmm.
Really like sucked up a lot of the budget, I believe.
Oh man. Let me ask you a question. Do you think Kenny's gonna die?
No, Alex didn't make it sound like he was dead. Well, I guess that could change.
But it could change.
Yeah,
so
probably.
like, I don't know. Like, I think it's a 50-50 chance between, and knowing Supergirl, this is not going to happen at all, either of the options I'm about to present. But what makes sense to me is a 50-50 chance between somehow by going back, they change the future so that Kenny's dead. Or they break up because Kara says that she's going to go to National City University.
Right.
And he comes back in adult form later this season.
I just don't know. I guess my gut's telling me he's going to die. Somehow. Like, if it's
That's my fear. That's what I feel like is going to happen.
If it's the Kree or like, I don't know. I think something's going to happen to him.
God, I hope not, but it feels like it.
Yeah. He's too good and pure and awesome, and
so we must kill him because we live in a cruel world.
They don't keep people around like that.
Poor Kara, though, how sad it would be to come back to the Phantom Zone and like remember that, like, well, I don't know if she would remember it because they would have changed her past, but Brainy and Neo would presumably have filled Alex in, and therefore Kara might know eventually that, like, crisis happened and there was a new world where she still remembers that Kenny died, but in this one he didn't die, but she comes back from the Phantom Zone and now he's dead again.
But she wouldn't know because as soon as he dies, it's an alternate timeline that they live. They wouldn't live the one that they lived previously.
Correct, but Brainy and Nia would have known that before they went back to the past, Kenny wasn't dead, so I wonder if they would tell Alex and Kara that they killed Kenny. Oh my god, they killed Kenny.
Right? Yeah, no, I don't know. I feel like that would be hard to keep to yourself, but it's better for them if you did.
Mm-hmm.
Because technically, like, they went back to save Kara, and to save Kara, Kenny had to die, if that's the case.
Yeah.
Or did die. I don't know if he had to, but he did, if that's what happens.
That would just be such a bummer.
It would be. I hope he doesn't die.
I really hope he doesn't, but I'm afraid he will.
No, never mind. I was gonna say no. I don't even want to float that out there.
Mm-hmm.
I'll leave that one.
Well, now I kind of want you to say it.
What if that is Kara's current boyfriend if he doesn't die?
Right.
Because of something they did to change it, like maybe she stays in Midvale as opposed to going to National City.
She comes back and he's already her boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
And that would, and because people love Kenny. People are all about Kenny.
People love Kenny. That's a weird, like, maybe toes the line of like what is and isn't free will at that point. But like, well, because in my 50-50 scenario, like I was saying Kenny would come back and I was just assuming that he would get with Kara and be the endgame or whatever. But it would be interesting if she came back and he was already her boyfriend.
Right. Like what if whatever happened, like it wasn't intentional, but like it changed her course, and instead of going to National City University, she stayed in Midvale and did their school and stayed with Kenny, and they've been together all this time, then there wouldn't even have been a Mon-El.
Well, sucks to suck.
Yeah. I mean, there may have still been a Mon-El, but it would have been a different scenario there.
Yeah. It would be interesting. I would be, if they absolutely must pair her with a man by the end of this series, which I don't believe. Pairing her with anybody, man or woman, don't care. But I feel like having to have her coupled by the end of the series as a happy ending is some bullshit. If it happens naturally, fine. Like, that's fine. But, like, if they must have her, like, okay by the end, which means that she has a partner, that's problematic. But if they must, I'm okay with Kenny over other options.
Yeah. I feel like it's almost.
I mean, we all know
like,
the option I prefer, but like,
right.
Kenny would be fine.
I feel like it's almost like a part of being a superhero. Like they all have romantic interest because then it's all like they have something to fight for, if that makes sense, or protect.
Mm-hmm.
And for Kara, it's always been like Alex and Lena and her other friends.
Yeah.
But mostly Alex and Lena. But like when you think about it, like Barry and Iris, Clark and Lois, Oliver and
It should have been
Felicity.
Laurel.
Yeah. It's Felicity in the CW verse, but Laurel in the comics, and Batman and Selena Kyle, Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just like a thing. Even like Kate Kane and Renee Montoya, or
Mm-hmm. Maggie Sawyer.
Yeah, Maggie Sawyer.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense to me that, like, high school relationships ending up in the, like, as, like, people actually getting married totally happens. But I think that you should generally have other experiences in between for, I mean, not all the time. I know plenty of people who didn't and it works out, so maybe I'm just incorrect. But I have a bunch of friends who, like, did date or didn't date in high school who then went off and weren't dating the entire time, who are now married, and it's awesome. And I don't know where exactly you fall on that, but didn't you know Shay in high school?
Yeah, I've known Shay since I was 10.
Yeah, I thought so.
I mean, we weren't an item.
Mm-hmm.
Shay's actually 4 years older than me, and nothing happened until I was 18, so let me just throw that out there. But yeah, I knew a lot of people, like, same. Like, I feel like the people that dated in high school ended up worse off. Most of them, like the majority, like if they
got
straight out of
married
high
after.
school. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, two of my best friends were not together at all in high school. They were two of my best friends in high school, and we were all in the same friend group. But they didn't date at all in high school, and I don't think it ever occurred to them to. And then we went on a trip together while I was in grad school, and after that, they started dating, and now they're married. Which is
It's kind of awesome.
So odd, but also perfect. But anyways, the point of all that is because it would make sense to me, like, Kenny and Carl were so sweet in Midvale, the first Midvale episode. And, like, he was just so good for her as, like, a high school boyfriend, I think. So it, like, it would track for me if, like, after they lived some life, they reconnected, and, like, that is an end game that does make sense and is okay with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Weird if it's somehow, like, because of timeline manipulation, like, they've just been together forever, or like, that toes the line for, like, consent for me in a weird way that I'm not sure I know how to articulate. But, like, just the timeline getting messed up so much that, like, this is your reality now, and who knows if that's even what you would have chosen, is odd. So I don't know if I love that.
But like, what if what you had is kind of the same way, like butterfly
Right,
effect?
that's the
Kinda,
argument. Yeah.
yeah,
Who's to say it's not what you would have wanted had
right,
things not gone a certain way? So, like, I mean, I feel like if Kenny hadn't gotten murdered in the original Midvale, like, they definitely would have dated, and like, who knows what would have happened afterwards. So, like, it makes sense to me in this timeline where he is not dead, hopefully for long. Like, hopefully he
right,
stays not dead. Um, that they would eventually rekindle that like that. I mean, it makes sense. I'm okay with
yeah.
it. And he
I'm
was
alright with
never
it.
an asshole, to our knowledge, which automatically makes him better than the other two options for her endgame.
Yeah,
The other
that
two
base.
male options for her endgame.
Yeah, that base he made was super, super sweet. Like very thoughtful.
With the twinkle lights and the like.
The log,
Mm-hmm.
the
And
pictures.
like that base is not gonna hold up my boo, but still a sweet thought.
It is also probably trespassing, but it is
Oh yeah.
still like a romantic gesture. Very romantic gesture.
Yeah, it was very I mean, he's an what, an 18, 17-year-old boy, like, he did the best he
Yeah,
could.
yeah. He did a good job.
Yeah, he's such a sweetheart. I really, really, really like him, and he's so smart, and, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they do change the timeline and they come back and he's a full member of, like, the Super Friends. Um,
Right.
like, the win.
Yeah.
Um, so, yeah, we'll see. I just hope he doesn't die. I wouldn't be surprised if he did, but I really hope he doesn't.
I hope he doesn't too. Like I like him. I think he's a
Mhm.
decent guy.
Me too.
So what is there anything else that I haven't mentioned that you want to talk about?
Um,
I still have
it
like
looks
8
like
things.
yeah, I have a few things. Not even plot. Most of my notes weren't like heavy plot related. They were just
No.
like things that I enjoyed or had questions about.
Yeah, me too.
So I guess one thing which we've kind of talked about this, um, but like the plot holes and the questions I have about what is and is not crisis affiliated and is just a mistake, and like they can use crisis to explain any mistake now, which is upsetting for me. um,
Right.
but like I have a couple questions um, that don't have to do with whether Kara solar flared before or encountered kryptonite, like whatever. But if Kara and Kenny, and I do think this is going to come up, especially with Kat next episode, but if they were superheroing this whole time, like the whole beginning of Supergirl was that like she hadn't done that in like 10 years. And like she didn't remember how to fly, and like the world didn't know that there was another super, like just how did that work if she was still using her powers? Because before she stopped using her powers because one of the most fucked up things in this series to me is when John posed as Alora posing as a FBI agent.
Yeah.
In Midvale, when he like pretended to be her, somebody that looked like her mom, to manipulate her into not using her powers. It's just so fucked up for me, and I can't
Yeah.
believe they just glossed over it. But anyways, that's why she stopped using her powers, and all of that comes from Kenny being dead. So my question is just like how when did she stop using her powers? Why did she stop using them? Like, did she stop using them and therefore is her whole origin story messed up now? Like, huh?
I guess maybe her origin story might be a little bit different. Like it sounds like everybody like they have memories of like that don't really remember happening,
Mm-hmm.
or like that's just for like the super friends and everybody they gave their original memories back to. But for everybody else, it's like I think they sometimes get a glimpse of like a life that they might have had, but they only know this life on Earth Prime.
Yeah.
So
I just have confusion. And another thing I have confusion about, and this is the bigger thing, is so the whole Midvale storyline where Kenny died exists because they were trying to explain how Kara and Alex became close when Alex hated her so much. And Kara didn't really appreciate Alex either. So now I'm not worried about it. Like, I know they got close somehow, clearly. I just want to know how.
yeah.
I want to know what happened.
I mean, so far they're not super close because Alex was crazy cruel to Kara.
Yeah, I mean, she said all that
About
stuff about like her dad sacrificing his life and all that stuff, but like she still was coming home from college to drive her to prom, and like it did look like they slept in different rooms, so maybe they weren't that close, but in the future, God, this is confusing. In the future, on Earth Prime, before Alex got her memories back from Earth 38 and everything that happened before Crisis. So, like, Kara wakes up in her loft, and Alex is there to hang out with her.
Mhm.
So, like, still something happened that made them, like, it seems like their relationship was not as close, but they still got along clearly enough to live in the same city that's not their hometown, and Alex to be in Kara's loft hanging out and, like, was clearly close to her.
Right. And
But, like, they still work
devastated.
together at the DEO, like...
Right.
I wonder how all of that went down. I mean, they definitely weren't as close, but
I don't know.
I mean, they seemed as close on Earth Prime before Alex got her memories back, which I mean, it's just continuity thing. Like they seemed like they were the same. In this episode, you could argue that they didn't seem like they were quite there.
Right. Not yet.
And like you could also argue that Alex was driving Kara to prom because her mom was making her and stuff like that. But
like she had sacrificed her trip to Europe or whatever to come back and do that.
Yeah, but they were still definitely closer than they were at the beginning of Midvale. Like they did not hate each other.
No. Yeah, it's better than it was, but it's still not.
Right.
Awesome.
So I just wonder what that story was on Earth Prime.
We could totally have a spinoff for these.
I want a Midvale spinoff so bad. I want it so bad. And I saw a tweet today that made me angry, but also like it made sense. That was like the CW would actually love the Midvale spinoff because there's no Lena, so there's no like Super Quark fandom, which you know they hate.
Right.
Alex isn't gay yet, so they don't have to like establish a relationship with a woman, and it's teens, so the CW would love it.
Right.
I was like, I hate that you're correct, but you're correct.
Yeah.
And I want the Midvale spinoff.
Yeah. I would watch it.
I know. I mean, on Earth Prime, Alex could have been gay before meeting Maggie.
That's true. I don't know that they've clarified that yet.
I don't think they have. But if they made a Midvale spinoff, they could.
Right.
Give me the Midvale spinoff. Melissa Benoist production company, give me the Midvale spinoff.
I think Melissa Benoist is going to be like checked out of Supergirl for a hot minute.
I would too. I don't blame her. She already is. She hasn't promoted this season at all, and I don't blame her.
Yeah, I don't either. Let's see. What else? I thought that Nia's dream powers unlocking that case at the college was really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Nia's
we're
powers
really
are
getting to see a
leveling
lot.
up.
Yeah, we got to see a lot of them this episode. I feel like we've seen some stuff, but nothing like we've seen in the last couple episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Really,
that bubble thing was cool too. I don't think
that bubble thing was cool. We just saw the tunnel.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same concept.
Yeah,
but the bubble, like, I don't think we fully see. But that was cool. So here's a question I have, which I don't think they brought up, but correct me if I'm wrong. So, did Kara use her freeze breath in this episode before the fight with the Kree? When she like tried to freeze the axle on the wheels of the... Did she use her freeze breath earlier?
Nothing I'm aware of.
Because I'm pretty sure all she did was use her heat vision and fly.
Right. And fly.
So this could have been just a mistake, and like they cut out part of the scene where they were talking about what they could do. So that could explain it. But in the truck, Nia tells Kara to use her freeze breath. And as far as I know in the episode, has no reason to have known that she could do that.
Right.
And so I was expecting that to be Nia's giveaway. But it didn't work out that way. So I'm just wondering what happened. Or like, I mean, it could come up next episode, or it could have just been like established but cut. Who knows?
Right.
But I was expecting that to be the like, I didn't tell you what my boyfriend's name was. Like, you know, that thing. Like,
yeah.
Because I was like, wait, she shouldn't know that.
Right.
I mean, they're also gullible in this episode. She could have just been like, on planet Psychon, we know these things. Or I'm psychic. I know what you can do. Like,
yeah, that could be explained away.
Yeah. But I just thought it was going to be like an interesting turn, and it didn't go that way.
Yeah. No, I caught it too, and I was wondering if somebody would bring it up, and it just never... I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of shit going on, but it still just like never happened.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they like mentioned it before, or who knows. Maybe it'll come up later.
Yeah. So Nia and Brainy did change the space-time continuum. Professor Torque doesn't get captured by the DEO when he should have.
Mm-hmm. He does not. He is still at large.
And they decide they have to catch him. Like that's
Seems bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nia singing 9 to 5.
I genuinely had no idea what it was that she was going to sing as her favorite song, but I was like, oh my god, it's Dolly. Like,
yeah.
Of course it's Dolly.
She did such an amazing job. I had no idea she could sing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was awesome. I thought it was great.
So Nia and Brainy end up getting captured by Professor Torque and Mitch, who are annoying as hell. Like, I am so not down with them.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's where it's to be continued.
I'm so glad this is a two-parter.
Yeah, me too. But now I kind of like... I'm not about the cliffhanger. Like, I want it to be resolved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. And what's weird is it's my understanding that Melissa Benoist and Kyler Lee are not in the next episode at all. Which just makes me wonder how it's going to end and how it's going to lead into the next one where we know they go into the Phantom Zone.
Right. How is Kyler Lee not in it? Like, don't they go back to the future?
That's my question. Like, do they not do that until the next one? But I know that she said, like, it was her directing experience was different because she wasn't in the episode.
That's right. I do remember reading that. I don't know. But man, this was like a really, really freaking good episode. I'm happy that they did this in the final season because Midvale was such a great episode.
Mm-hmm.
In season 3. I'm just super glad they did this.
I'm so happy, and I love the people that they cast on like as Kara and Alex, and I just am so glad that they are able to come back and do like I know they've come back before, but it's only been like very small snippets.
Right.
And I'm so happy that they get to like shine.
Yeah, me too. Did you have anything else?
A couple quick things. So I have okay, so this note, and I'll explain it, just says, I feel like in superhero universes, there are a lot more kids falling in wells than usual. Because when Nia asks Alex at the beginning, before they go back in time, like, what's this luckiest town, whatever, Alex was like, oh yeah, Kenny and Carl were superheroing and like pulling cats from trees and saving kids from wells. And then there's like there's just so many shows with like a superhero like tropes with like the well thing. And I'm like, I promise you in my real people life that I have never known anyone who has fallen in a well.
Right. I
And
think
I'm
I've
from
only
the
ever
South,
seen one
so
like yeah. I think I've only seen like one true actual well, like in the sense that like when you think of a well
yeah.
with like the bucket that you lower and
And
like
like Midvale is what, like Pacific Northwest? Like there I don't feel like in 2009 there's not that many wells.
yeah, exactly. I didn't think so.
It was just like what, who are they pulling from wells and why are they falling in there?
I mean, I don't know, maybe the town's water system doesn't stretch out as far as we would imagine, but
Maybe. Maybe it's not.
I don't know.
So what I can think about for wells are like Agents of Shield had a storyline with a kid trapped in a well, and I mean there are some things that are older like Lassie.
Yeah.
But then that makes more sense, and like Doc Holliday from Winona Earp being trapped in a well makes more sense because that was the 1800s. The Batman thing was just a Bane thing, and Bane is all fucked up. But no, he got caught in a well when he was a kid too. Batman did. That's why he's scared of bats.
Yep.
So
Fell down into the well.
yeah, there's a lot of people falling in wells in TV, and I just have never seen that happen. So that made me laugh. I kind of wonder if that was a joke. Oh, things falling off my table. Yeah, okay, so just two more quick things. One thing is that I noticed that Kara's hair had two blonde streaks in it. And there are two things I'm wondering. One, if that was like is her hair is darker, so I'm like, did it slowly turn more blonde the longer she was like exposed to the yellow sun?
I feel like
was it an Astra thing? Did she do it on purpose to look like Astra?
I feel like I've read that like her hair was dark on Krypton and then it lightened up the longer she was on Earth, but I feel like it would have lightened up more by this juncture, like if she's like 17 or 18 or whatever. It would have already like lightened up all the way.
Yeah, I mean, I assume that's what they were trying to do. I just thought it was an interesting piece of like detail.
I didn't even notice. I'm definitely.
I noticed it the time I watched it right before we started recording, but it's just interesting because they don't seem to pay a lot of attention to detail, but they did for that.
Yeah.
And the last thing I have is just what I thought was really funny is that fight that Alex and Kara have where Kara's like, you don't have a lot of life experience. Kara was like, I've seen more solar systems than you've had dates. And like Kara runs away and she's like, I'm going to show you how mature I am. I'm like, that's the most teen fight I have ever. Like, that's such a teenager thing. Yeah. You're not mature. Yes, I am. No, you're not. Like, I'm gonna prove to you how much of an adult I am by going to do something dumb.
Yeah, exactly.
I just thought it was funny.
By doing something I should have done a long time ago.
Right. Oh, it made me laugh very hard. Oh, and also, like, I mean, I get it, COVID reasons, availability reasons, whatever, but like, Eliza should have been in this episode.
Yeah. I mean, we did get a picture of her. A little blurry, but it was there.
Also, Eliza should just be all over this season. Like, they should tell her that Kara is in the Phantom Zone. Like, think of the worst thing that can happen to your kid. And, like, for most people, it's death. But I think Eliza would know that it's going back to the Phantom Zone. And, like, you should tell your mother. Like,
right.
You should tell the child's mother.
Exactly.
Like, you would have told her if she died, hopefully. But now I'm thinking about Arrow when there's just so many times where they didn't tell the parents and that went very poorly.
Yeah.
But, like, she should be there.
Yeah, she should be there. Also, it's weird. I mean, Kara's like a sweet girl, but like it's weird to have a picture of her mom on her nightstand. That doesn't seem realistic.
I certainly have never had a picture of my mom on my nightstand.
No. I mean, there's a picture of me and my sister and my mom on my desk at work, but like, I feel like that's different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was just strange. I think that was just their way to get Helen Slater into the episode somehow.
Yeah.
What did you think about Nia calling her mom?
Oh, it was really sad.
Yeah. Like overall, I know we spoke about it a little bit, but I don't feel like.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't think about it when they were going back. Like Brainy said, like he should have thought about it, is what he was saying. But like, I didn't think about it either. I was like, oh, you're going back to a time when your mom was fully alive. Like, that's super sad. But it's also something I would do.
Yeah.
Like for anybody in my life that ever died, I would definitely call their phone just to hear their voicemail. So like, that makes sense. But also, what would she have done if her mom picked up?
Right. I think she probably would have panicked and hung up, but
yeah. It didn't register for me at first that she was calling her mom in the present timeline. Like, I was just kind of thinking, like, she just calls her mom to hear her voice sometimes. But it didn't register for me that she could have picked up. Because she's not.
She is not.
Interesting.
Like,
and she has the dream powers, so she's gonna know.
Yeah, you think she would know Nia's actually there right now.
I would think that she does. So I wonder if that's gonna come back up.
I don't know. I'm just anxious to see next week's episode now. I feel like I haven't felt this way in a long time where I've been like on the edge.
I know.
It's terrible.
It makes me sad because I know that episode 6 is going to lead into episode 7 where they get her back, and then we're going to have like a 10-week break.
Yeah.
And I'm not ready for that, but I am ready for them to get her back.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm very ready for prom again because the promo looked amazing.
It really did. It looks like they're all on the spaceship, like even Cat Grant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it did.
So that should be interesting.
It's going to be very interesting. I was, mistakes aside, just so thrilled with this episode.
Yeah, me too.
I thought it was lovely. Yeah.
Well, let's see what our listeners thought about prom night. Our first email is from Daryl. And Daryl says, I like this one better than Midvale, but was so disappointed we didn't get Helen Slater. Yeah, that would have been awesome. They definitely used Crisis to change things. So Supergirl brought back her friend from high school, but not Nia's mom. I mean, in a way, they kind of did. I think it was all probably COVID. COVID related like
Mhm.
limitations on the number of people they could have. Alex needs to back off. She's being a major downer. Let Kara be great. This is exactly what happens when you put too much pressure on a young person's shoulders. I've never been more glad Alex is dating Kelly. She needs therapy. Forgive me for saying this, but they only cast a younger Cat Grant because they couldn't get Callista. This is not the queen of all media that wrote the bestseller Nine Lives and Counting that Eliza was reading in the Midvale flashback episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
we also didn't mention that, like, Kat in this episode is what, 28, maybe? Maybe 30?
well, she would have. So let's say Kara is 17.
Right. I mean,
Adam
in
Grant.
canon, she should be 19. But we'll just say crisis.
Yeah.
But 2009 is... So the show started in what, 2015?
She should have Catco.
Yeah. And Kara was 24 at the beginning. So she should be 19. This Cat Grant looks like she's 30 at most. But Cat in 2015 is definitely at least 50.
Yeah. Or like 48, I think is the...
Something like that. I mean, Calista Flockhart is 56 now, so that would track for like... It's just funny. Because, like,
yeah.
You did not age 20 years in 5.
And like she had Adam when she was 24, because wasn't she starting Catco?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so.
And like just because, okay, so Kara is a senior in high school, so we'll say 17 or 18, even though the year doesn't add up. So she should be 40, 39, 40 here.
At the youngest.
It's all just so fucking weird.
I wonder how old Eliza Helm is. Let me look. Not that super matters, but it's just like the way that they made this cat out to be. I mean, I'm not mad about it because they cast the perfect person.
Yeah, if they couldn't get Callista and they had to make her younger to bypass Callista.
Right. So, like, that's fine. But the way that they made her seem so young, just as a character, doesn't make any sense. I can't find her age. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Anyways, the cat that was in this episode was definitely like 30. Maybe. Like, she seemed like, maybe not like a junior reporter, but not like somebody who was about to own her own company.
Right. Because she was still talking about the gossip column. Like, she was still answering to Perry White.
Right. Unless somehow this story is how she launches her, like, big break or whatever.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe this is what, like, launches Catco. I don't know.
Yeah. Who is to know? Maybe she's just looks very, very young for 43.
I mean, she looked young for 48, so I think
you're not wrong.
Looks way younger than her age.
Yeah, I mean, I think she perpetually looks like 35.
Yeah. Okay, so Daryl says they brought in the Preserver from Superman, the animated series. The Main Man. This is the episode. The episode was The Main Man, season 1, episode 9 and 10. And the Preserver had the same MO as Professor Zork, but the Preserver kind of looked like an egg, I think. If I'm but he was still like somebody who collected other aliens for like a menagerie kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Nia listened to a voicemail. That is it. I don't understand why Brainy is acting out like that. Nia is so incredible. I don't like how they are weighing her down with all these doubts. Let Nia be great. When Brainy was explaining why Alex couldn't come back, when Brainy was explaining why Alex couldn't come with them using Back to the Future logic, it sounded more like an excuse rather than something that could actually happen. And writing that you can see through that easily could be better. Again, I think it was probably like a cap on the people that they could have. And I mean, Alex definitely would have ran into her other self. Jean is a stretch. But definitely, I mean, I think he was right about Alex. Like, I don't know if she would have recognized her older self, but it is a big possibility.
Mm-hmm.
So I think as far as like not letting Alex go, that was the right call. And I mean, Jean was technically an adult and in that form at that time, but I don't think it's slim that they would have ran into each other. So, but I don't know. They're talking about the DEO capturing Zork. So that will probably happen next episode.
Yeah.
I don't know if Jean will be involved. Maybe.
Yeah, who knows?
And that was it. Thanks, Daryl.
Thanks, Daryl. Okay, our next email is from Clara. And it is titled, I need to get in the habit of reading Clara's episode titles because they're always so good.
Yeah.
Or email titled. It's called Nia Null, Please Marry Me. I agree. This is my favorite Nia episode. I think. She has a lot that I really like, but she's just so funny and lovable in this one.
Yeah, she really is.
Yeah. So Clara says, "Hi, super podcasters. I hope this email finds you not in 2009, a truly abysmal year in my humble opinion." Okay, let's go back to 2009. I was a sophomore in high school. So I did go to prom this year with somebody who was a year older than me who was my boyfriend. This might have been the year I wore Converse. This was a time in my life when everyone but me knew I was gay. I don't remember much about that year or high school. I had a really great friend group in high school. Luckily, that didn't try to make me be anything. So that was nice. So I generally enjoyed it, although I was not like, I didn't love the minute to minute of high school. But yes, 2009, I would basically have been where Carl was in this episode. Pretty glad to not be there anymore. I know myself a lot better now.
I lived in Pittsburgh. That was like the main difference.
Miss Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I miss it too.
I wish we had lived in Pittsburgh at the same time. What would our lives have been like?
Amazing.
So good. What if we had both lived in Pittsburgh when I just responded to your tweet about doing this? That would have been wild.
That would have been crazy.
We would have met each other more than once in person.
I'd have loved it.
Anyways, yes, Clara, I'm glad I'm not in 2009. Okay, so I have mixed feelings about this episode. I hope they won't be too controversial, but just to be clear, I did like it. I thought it was great, and I wish the show could be like this all the time. Lighter, less topical. This episode didn't take itself too seriously, and it showed. Yeah, I think that's the difference.
Yeah.
That being said, I absolutely do not vibe with Earth Prime, neither do I, and whatever this shit timeline is. It doesn't make any fucking sense, Clara.
It doesn't.
How does anything that happened in this new past correlate with what we know or clearly don't know about the future? This is my question, because we've always operated under the understanding that everybody knows what happened on Earth 38 that we care about.
Right.
So they've all been using their same memories. And so it's like, it hasn't been very many times where we've seen things like where Alex was like, yeah, Kara's boyfriend, Kenny, like talking about this stuff. They were superheroing, whatever, as if it was normal.
Right.
Even though we know it to not be true. And Jean was like, wait, isn't he dead? Like, because Jean never knew that, whatever. Although, no, he probably would have, because Kara had the memories of Earth Prime and also the memories of Earth 38, and now they all have them. Or maybe Kara didn't have the memories of Earth Prime? But Alex definitely had both.
Yeah.
Once her memory got restored. I don't remember. But, like, we don't get a lot of, like, oh, this is what's different now. I mean, we get, like, the Phantom Zone is fractured because whatever. And it's like, okay, whatever. This is an excuse. But we don't get a lot of, like, I remember this differently now. So, same question, Clara. I hate it. The further we get away from Crisis, the more I wish it never happened.
And it's so crazy because we were so excited for it.
We literally released special podcasts. We read the comic book again, and it is not a short one.
It is not.
And we went through the promos and dissected them. We were so excited, and now I'm just like, please, good God,
Stop.
make it not have happened. Oh, man. Anyways, what brought Clara to hide her powers until she saved Alex from the plane crash? Did she even save Alex from the plane crash? How did Alex turn into the party girl Jean picked up from jail? That's true, because she was in college during that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Alex being an asshat is so old. We got over that 3 seasons ago. We do not need a redux. And finally, I know this one is going to make people mad, but please don't come for me because I do not care. I'm not a fan of this version of Cat Grant. For starters, no matter how fucked Earth Prime is, this doesn't work with her current age, and the actress who's playing her is trying a wee bit too hard to be Callista Flockhart, and it shows. I tend to agree, because there were times, like I said earlier, where it took me out of it how similar it was.
Yeah.
I mean, still great. Like, wild that you can copy that. Like,
yeah.
Motion for motion. Like, impressive. But also, like, I don't think she brought any of herself to it. Anyways, Clara says, okay, now that is out of the way, on to the episode. Unless you hate me already, in which case I'm so sorry that I have opinions and that they are correct. No, Clara, I don't. I fully understand your opinion.
I respect your opinion.
Mm-hmm. This episode was amazingly funny. At several points, it was like watching Legends of Tomorrow. That's true. And I even wonder if some people from Legends of Tomorrow weren't simply directly involved with it. That could be a fun thing to look up.
But go ahead.
That's true. It had everything I like from this show. The good comedic timing, the wacky storylines, the truly fucked up time travel, but with the beloved characters from Supergirl, which made it awesome. I actually laughed several times, and once I'd managed to suspend my disbelief, I really enjoyed it. This episode really works if you consider it as a canon divergent fanfic that has no incidence on anything. Exactly. Like, if you can forget the ridiculousness of it, you can just truly enjoy it.
Yeah.
Brainy and Nia, of course, are everything that is pure and good in the world. In fact, if there ever is a spinoff, I want it to be with them. That's a good point. I would watch the shit out of that.
I would too. Brainy's like one of my favorite characters, I think, on TV.
Yeah. People out here think they could move to Legends once Supergirl is over, and based on this episode, I totally think it could work. I mean, everything is there. They traveled back in time, completely messed up their arrival, broke a significant piece of technology that would allow them to yeet out of their continuum and dressed in a period-accurate way. 2009 was a wild time. I personally remember boat necklines, straight jeans, and off-brand Converses, and would like to have my mind wiped. Thank you very much. If I had to guess, if season 6 isn't the last season of Legends, season 7 will be. So I'm not sure I want them to go there because I feel like it would be for a short amount of time. But if Legends lasts for 15 seasons, I'm also into that. I just don't think it will.
Yeah, I hope it does. Like, I could go for like
God, I hope it does.
a ton. Like, I just love it. Legends is one of the best shows on the CW.
I do love it. Okay. I've said it before, but I really like how organic the relationship is, and I'm genuinely invested in it. They were so soft and tentative in this episode, and when Nia started singing to him, I just about lost my entire shit. If Brainy does not marry her, I fucking will. Yeah, I mean, part of me kind of wishes that they had gone the Brainy and Clara route, just to be accurate, but not enough to where I would ever be sad about this, because I love Nia and Brainy together.
I'm not convinced that they don't go that route, and that's why Brainy is so invested on saving Kara.
Yeah, hey, they could. I wouldn't necessarily be mad about it, but I do love Brainy and Nia.
Like, I think Brainy would know, like, from the future that they end up together.
Oh, you're right. You're right. They very well might.
And for that to happen.
Like, way, way in the future.
Yeah, because who knows how long Kara and Clark could live.
That's a
without
really good
aging.
Point. Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, that would happen in a way that's not, like, weird to me. Because, like, I really like Brainy and Nia. I would be sad if they broke up. And especially now, like, with just the limited number of episodes, it wouldn't make sense to me for them to break up and for Brainy and Kara to be, like, endgame or whatever for the series. But if it's hundreds of years in the future, I'm down.
Thousands.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, Nia is part human.
Mm-hmm.
She would probably inevitably pass away at some point, sadly.
Yeah, let's not think about everyone that Carla's dying. Except for Brainy now. So maybe they do. Okay, anyways. Beyond all romance between them, they also work very well as a team, and maybe it's because the CW has put the bar on the floor, and it's incredibly easy to do better than what they usually do. But the fact that they communicate and try to understand each other and do better really gets to me. That being said, it'd be great if in addition to communicating and showing real human emotions, or like alien emotions, they could also move beyond their traumas and begin to heal. Nia has been grieving her mom since season 4 and hasn't been allowed to dwell on it enough to deal with it. And Brainy has been messed up since the loss of his inhibitors and has absolutely not dealt with it apart from breaking expensive equipment. As someone who really identifies with him, seeing him lose his shit every other episode with little progress apart from doing push-ups is not super great. Therapy,
that whole bat scene, though. Yeah. I think we just all need to play baseball.
I know. I really want to go play baseball. Let's go play vampire baseball. Okay.
I can't even with vampire baseball.
It's time again to watch Twilight. I love baseball though. I really want to. I've been thinking about getting one of those like springboards so that I can play catch with myself.
Oh, that is a good call. Shay will play catch with me, but I don't think she generally likes to.
Okay, well, I'll move to you and we'll play catch together.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Nia and Kara being aliens together was really fucking cute. And considering that Kara is supposed to be Nia's mentor, or at least she was pre-Crisis, the role reversal was really funny. I think we'll see more of their interactions next episode, so I'm looking forward to that. I actually enjoyed their relationship more than Kara and Alex's. Alex was honestly just kind of mean for no reason, and I'm so over this. While we're on that topic, I wish we'd seen Eliza, just so she could have explained why she suddenly became a geologist, and what was the thought behind forbidding her grown daughter from going to Europe because she was worried about Kara, because that doesn't make much sense. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. Maybe she knew Kara was supering, and this is all me like writing the show for these people because somebody needs to, and wanted Alex to come home because of it. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. Alex smooching French girls is not going to put Kara in danger. Clara, are you projecting?
Right?
Do you want Alex to go to France to kiss people in a gay way so that that person can be you? I'm not blaming you.
No. Not at all.
Jeremiah's death must have really fucked her up if she decided to quit being a top-notch xenobiologist to collect shiny rocks instead. As an aside, I know I said I enjoyed the episode and now I'm kind of shitting on it, so I'm sorry about that. I'm just a sad and bitter person.
Oh, Clara.
Oh, Clara. Next episode, I hope we see a little more of teenage Kara and Alex is a little less mean. One of the reasons I like the original Midvale episode is because it's when they really become sisters, and this undoes it. The Danvers sisters are one of my favorite things in the world, and I've been missing them so much since Kara left on vacation to the Phantom Zone. Vacation? So I would really like to see them more, even if it's just in their younger, incredibly well-casted versions. Now, do you think they brought Kenny back just to kill him in a new and creative way? Because I got a vibe he was not going to make it. The fact that he was so eager to have a life with Kara and that she's so awkward around him and doesn't want to tell him that she wants something different makes me feel like something is going to happen to them, and then she'll be sad and guilt-ridden once more. Clara, I have scareds.
Yeah, I mean, that was my initial thought. Like, Kenny's gonna get killed, even though he wasn't dead. Like, he's gonna be now, and that's gonna be the change that really that Alex was like, "Don't fuck up my life."
Yeah, I'm afraid. Congratulations on making it to the end of this very messy email. You've earned one song by my wife, Nia Nall. If your hearts melt, welcome to the club. We will meet to cry again next week, same time, same place. Erush Bem, Clara. P.S. The combination of Alex's outfit with the minivan was, how might I put it, a little gay. Alex in the minivan was so fucking funny to me.
It was super
just
funny.
Car chase on a minivan, so good.
Yeah.
PPS, was that mention of Glee Club really necessary? Because I had war flashbacks and I think I'm going to have nightmares. Thank God I quit Glee in like season 2. But yes, I'm sure that was a nod.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, I think that's why they did that. But I wish we could go to a time where that didn't exist.
All right. Our last email is from WriterBot, and WriterBot says, "Hello. Supergirl is at its best when it's bright, sunny, and not bogged down in angst. And that pattern very much held with this week's episode. It was so much fun. Really, really, really was. We've learned it's best not to think too much about continuity whenever Supergirl delves into its past. So I was able to mostly keep myself from asking continuity questions, though I did wonder how Cat Grant managed to go from reporter to head of her own media empire in less than 6 years. You would you would have to set it in an alternate timeline so it wouldn't be hemmed by its own future, but I would totally watch a spin-off series centered around young Kara, Alex, and Kenny. Heck, you could even somehow strand Nia and Brainy in the past and throw them in the mix. That would be epic.
That would be hilarious. I would love it.
Yeah. Speaking of Kenny, it's kind of amazing that after 6 seasons, the best and healthiest canonical love interest Kara has had is the one that present Kara probably doesn't even remember. The Paragons still don't have their memories from the Earth Prime timeline, right?
I don't
they
think
did.
so. Well, when I was talking it out earlier, I think the conclusion I came to in my head, because Kara didn't know what the fuck was happening when she woke up on her loft. Like, she didn't know what that Earth was. She didn't know about the Luthor. She didn't know anything.
It's true.
But Alex knew everything. And then when John gave her memories back, Alex still knew everything about the past, but also Earth 38. So I don't think the Paragons know.
Yeah. It's almost odd watching an episode of Supergirl and not having any serious complaints about a plot hole, weird character moment, or toxic relationship, but I'll take it. Sincerely, WriterBot. Thank you.
Thanks, WriterBot.
Oh, shoot. I love it. I love our listeners. Well, thank you everyone who took the time to write in. You can reach us via Twitter at podoffcourse and through email at podoffcourse@gmail.com. And this week, instead of endorsements, we're going to recognize that today is National Superheroes Day.
Yay.
And we're going to name our favorite superheroes. And we did not talk ahead of time about how do you want to do this? Do you just want to go first?
Yeah. Do you want to trade off, or do you want to just go one at a time, or?
Yeah, we could trade off.
Okay. Shelley's are in order, sort of, right? Mine are not, but we both have. I have 5 favorite superheroes and 3 honorable mentions.
And I have 7 favorite superheroes and 1 honorable mention, so it all works out.
Technically, I just have 8 favorite superheroes, but I was trying to make it 5. So, just it's 8. It's 8.
It is what it is.
We have 8.
Yeah. You go ahead and kick it off.
Okay, my first one that I'm going to talk about is Thunder from Black Lightning. Anissa Pierce is her name. Her superhero name is Thunder. She has the powers, she has sonic powers, so she can she has the thunderclap, which it's the same thing as Kara's sonic clap, pretty much. So she can stomp really hard, and it's basically the thunderclap is her power.
Right.
And she is the daughter of Jefferson Pierce, who is Black Lightning. And she was not in Crisis, unfortunately. So if you don't watch Black Lightning, you may not know who she is. But she is she may be the first canonical lesbian superhero on TV. That might be slightly incorrect based on definitions of superhero. But she's definitely the first Black lesbian superhero on TV. But she is amazing. The thing I love about her is that usually superheroes have such a hard time disagreeing with other superheroes about the best way to do things and stuff like that. And it's a big point of tension or whatever. Anissa is so focused on doing everything she possibly can with or without her powers to she'll go out as Thunder, but she'll also just go out as a vigilante in a mask. That's not her regular superhero stuff. Because she's so interested in helping people who the system fails. And when she doesn't think that her dad, Black Lightning, is doing enough for that, she's just fuck it, I'll do it myself. And I absolutely love her. And yes, so Thunder from Black Lightning.
Okay, my honorable mention is Shazam, and his real life alter ego is Billy Batson, and Billy lives in a home of foster kids. His mom kind of abandoned him. I don't feel like he ever really knew his dad. And he is a child who, when he says Shazam, turns into
a grown-ass man.
Grown-ass man who is on par with the powers of Superman.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of crazy. I think it makes for an awesome dynamic. I like they used to be the Marvel family. They're actually, I don't know if you can, you can kind of see that they're on my wall back here. But yeah, I just like the dynamic. I like the family dynamic, but it's found family. I like that he's kind of immature, but he gains maturity from being Shazam. Like
Mhm.
he gains perspective, and like he's a better person because of it. So I think it's kind of neat. I also like the Shazam Black Adam dynamic. I'm excited for that movie to come out. But yeah, so that's my honorable mention, Shazam.
Nice. Okay, so one of mine, I guess this is technically one of my honorable mentions, but we'll go with Wonder Woman, who I absolutely love. Just amazing. I just recently, I feel like her story has been a little bit too focused on a man. So that's why she has become one of my honorable mentions instead of one of my favorites. To be clear, I'm mixing all of this up. Thunder was not an honorable mention. She's just straight up one of my favorite superheroes. But Wonder Woman, I love. So good.
My number 7, and she is only number 7 just because she's new, and I felt like because of how new she was. I just talked about her, I guess, last week, Jo Malone, or the week before. She's the Green Lantern from Far Sector. She's just amazing. I told you guys, I think she's probably pansexual. She's just very strong-willed. She has a very good sense of like right and wrong. She's funny. She's very level-headed and like very like rational, and like tends to stay pretty calm about things. She'll get bent out of shape about stuff, but she kind of keeps her emotions in check. Maybe it's because she's on a world where they regulate emotions, and she got a pass on that because she's a Green Lantern. But yeah, she's just super cool, and I can't wait to see her. She's going to be like part of the Justice League in the new Infinite Frontier line that DC's putting out. So I'm excited to read that.
Nice.
So yeah, Jo Malone, Green Lantern from Far Sector.
Very cool. Mine's gonna bounce between Marvel and DC. So we'll go to Marvel. Thor, just a beautiful, beautiful Asgardian being, physically, but mostly because Thor is just a huge dork. Thor Ragnarok is one of the most beautiful films I can think of. It's just so funny and so whimsical and so funny. Thor's just an icon. He's silly. He's fallible. I mean, like he fully goes through it in Endgame. And he's just a whole dork, and he's very, very sweet. And I just love him dearly. So, yay, Thor.
My number 6 is Diana Prince, Wonder Woman. Just like a super strong woman role model, and her origin story is like the origin of William Marsden Malden, like actually writing and like what he wrote about. And if nobody's watched that movie now, it's like slipping, like something about Wonder Women or something to that effect. Do you know what I'm talking about, Aaron?
Yeah. I don't know what it's called though.
Like Professor Marsden's Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I think it might be that.
Something like that. But like the origin is just epic, and I think she's a really strong female character. I don't like how like she's all like devastated over Steve Trevor all the time, but yeah.
Yeah. To be clear, I love Steve Trevor. I just don't love that that's her story now. And that's just it.
Right. I have to step away for 1 second, and I apologize, but I think a computer is about to be broken and I need to stop that. So I will be right back.
We'll have Kitten Corner with Aaron. Okay, Shelly is away, so we're going to play. Let's look at all the kittens that live in my house now. This one is Plum. Plum's hobbies are spelunking, and murder. She just loves to murder. That is her favorite thing to do. But it gets really awkward because she has these cute little white spots on her paws and they get covered in blood. So that's weird. Okay, go back to sleep, baby.
Okay, I'm back. We're all good.
Okay, wait, no, we're still doing cat introductions.
Aw.
This one is Papaya. Papaya's hobbies, much like Eliza Danvers' Earth 1 version, are geology. She is also very interested in The Lord of the Rings. This is Pistachio. His interests are hiding and screaming. And finally, last but not least, this one is Peaches. Oh my goodness, Peaches, show your face. Peaches is an amateur professional poker player, but he is terrible at it. I know, he's very bad at lying, but he still always wins because look at that face.
So cute.
And that's been Kitten Corner with Aaron. Okay, back to you. You finished. Did you finish Wonder Woman?
I did. I think so.
Okay, so we'll go to my next one, Jessica Jones. Jessica Jones, I mean, you could argue that Jessica Jones is not a superhero, but I don't care. She's definitely super. She is essentially a metahuman, I guess. But she is just jaded and hates the world and also is not interested in being a hero, but is one because it's the right thing to do. And I just love her and her sass and her poor coping mechanisms so much. She's the best. And I love her leather jacket. And Jessica Jones is my shit. Well, come here.
So let's see here. What is this? The fifth one? Number 5? Am I cracking the top 5 here?
Mm-hmm.
Is Barry Allen the Flash.
Hell yeah.
And I just love Barry's personality, like his positivity, and he always wants to see the best in people. He's super smart. It is like messed up how his dad ended up in prison, accused of killing his mom. I like the whole story between him and Iris. I don't know. It's just, I think he's like a super good person. Like he really is like the paragon of love. Like that was accurate. I just like more than the Flash. Like I think his abilities like really cool. But it's crazy how he can like mess with time and all that stuff. Like, but I like Barry Allen. That's the part of the Flash that I like the most.
Nice. So my next one is going to be Captain Marvel. Carol Danvers, love of my life, raging lesbian. I love her because she was dealt circumstances that are just so weird and bonkers from the very beginning. But she always kept her sense of whimsy and her humor and just her general love for like being a hero and being able to do cool things. Like she sees how cool it is, the things that she can do, and she loves that. So that's something I really love about her. I really love her just being Carol Danvers, like you said about Barry Allen. She's just a beautiful person, I think. I would argue that she is the strongest Avenger, because she can just kick everyone's ass. I love her very, very much. So, Captain Marvel.
My number 4 is Clark Kent, Superman. I've liked Superman for a really long time, like since I was like 11 years old. So it was like one of my starting points for comics was Action Comics and Superman. I People will like make cracks about Clark Kent's and Superman's wholesomeness, but I enjoy that. I enjoy that aspect of him. Um, I know it could go very wrong. I've read enough comics where his powers have led down a very bad path for the rest of us, but I guess in the true like timeline, I was about to say reality, but that's not the case either.
I wish.
Right? But I guess like in main timelines, he's just like a really decent guy. Really caring, wants what's best, like once really has adopted this as his planet. And yeah, I'm about Superman.
Nice. Okay, so I guess we're in the top 3, and these truly are my top 3. I have saved them as like, these are my faves. I want to be clear, I am not going to name Batwoman because for the purposes of this, I'm going with people with superpowers. Otherwise, if we were just going with heroes, of course I'm naming Batwoman. Anyways, we're gonna go with Spider-Man, but Miles Morales. Specifically from Into the Spider-Verse. Just the best kid on the planet. Huge dork. What a doofus. I love him. I love that movie so much. It's my favorite movie of all time. He just like, he did not mean to be Spider-Man at all. He killed the fuck out of that spider. Like, I just think I love him because nothing about him is defined by the fact that he is Spider-Man. Like, he loves being Spider-Man. He thinks it's cool. He thinks it's super weird. He loves helping people. He's really awkward about the fact that he's Spider-Man, and he works with his dad, who is on the police force, and his dad doesn't know he's Spider-Man. I love how cool he thinks it is that he's Spider-Man, but I also love him just as a person. Like, he's a great artist. He really cares about his family. He's a huge nerd, doesn't know how to flirt with anybody. He's just so great, and I love him so bad. And I like all iterations of Spider-Man, but he is absolutely the best.
So I went back and forth. This is my top 3 here. I kind of went back and forth on whether or not he was actually like not, but I mean he's not as much human as he is metal and otherworldly pieces. But it is Cyborg. Victor
As soon as
Stone.
you said metal, I knew it was going to be Cyborg.
I love Victor Stone. Like, he debuted with the Teen Titans. So I kind of like, I wasn't reading those when they first came out. I was reading like later issues and then like later iterations, but I just thought he was always so fascinating. Like, he was super smart. I love the way he connected to computers. Like, for me personally, like being like a computer person, like that like spoke to me a little bit. The way he would just plug in and like make things happen. It was awesome. He's like their go-to tech person. I love the way things would just like show up in front of him. I like his arm cannons, and I always liked his personality. I feel like he was like maybe the most rational of the Teen Titans. He and Dick Grayson back in the day, and yeah, just he's awesome. I think they should do a Cyborg movie. That's just me. And if you've seen the Snyder Cut Justice League, like he had a huge part in the original, how it was supposed to be, and they should have kept it that way. It made it like one of my favorite movies.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, Cyborg.
Very cool. Okay, so my number 2, I am going to say, is Quake. From Marvel. You can find her in the comics, but you can also find her as Daisy Johnson and or Skye on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is a beautiful TV show that I don't think enough people watched. Quake is fantastic. So she starts as Skye, who is essentially an orphan who has absolutely no idea what her past is, bounced in and out of foster homes, all of that stuff, and becomes a hacker just trying to take down the most powerful, essentially trying to take down S.H.I.E.L.D. actually from the beginning, because she really did not agree with their stance on powered people. And she saw them as sort of like a militant agency, and she's not super wrong. Based on season 1 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But anyways, S.H.I.E.L.D. catches her and essentially helps turn her into a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, and it's the S.H.I.E.L.D. led by the essentially undead Phil Coulson, the good S.H.I.E.L.D., which is not the Hydra S.H.I.E.L.D. Which, if you know anything about the Marvel cinematic universe, there's a whole lot going on with S.H.I.E.L.D. at about the time that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. started. But they turn her into a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, and she's amazing. She's badass. She's awesome. She's so dedicated to her team and to making a difference and doing good in the world. And then it turns out that she is an Inhuman, and her mom was an Inhuman, and who essentially runs like an Inhuman sanctuary in the mountains somewhere. And she has the power to manipulate sound frequencies. So she's called Quake because she essentially can make earthquakes. So like she controls vibrations. And it's the coolest power because it's essentially like it's telepathy, it's sound manipulation, it's so many things. Like she can use it to fly. It's very, very cool. And her story of realizing that she's inhuman, which is something that S.H.I.E.L.D. has been fighting against for so long, and coming into her own and understanding herself and using that to become an even better person, and essentially saving the world so very many times, and sacrificing herself a couple times. She's like Buffy. I think she died twice. She's just so great. She's one of my favorite superheroes of all time. I can't get enough of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and it's because of Quake.
Awesome. My number 2 is Kara Zor-El, Supergirl. I didn't come across Supergirl until like 3 or 4 years into reading comics. But she always just kind of stuck with me. And when they put out the show, like that was it. Like that sealed the deal. Like she's like my favorite. She's had so many like iterations also. It hasn't always been Kara Zor-El. And it's interesting. I feel like the comics are quirky, and I kind of like that. Like they're, especially the earlier ones, and then like I would say through like the early 90s, like they're kind of goofy a little bit, like weird stuff. And I kind of enjoy that. Like that's like a break from reality for me. Like when I was a kid, like those goofy, like just not of Earth, not even possible kind of things that happen. And those were the stories going on at that time, like in the 2000s. Yeah. And I mean, we all watch the show, obviously, so we know what kind of person she is. But yeah, Kara Zor-El, Supergirl.
Nice. I feel like I don't have to say anything else because she's my number 1. I just love her so much. I love her optimism, which is something that I don't have and aspire to. I love her origin story. I mean, I understand this is not part of the comics until Supergirl started, but I love her relationship with Alex. It means a lot to me. Supergirl in general means a lot to me, and the things that it has done for my life. She's just the very best.
Surely is. We wouldn't know each other if it wasn't for Supergirl. So
We
there's
would
that.
not.
That is
That would be
tragedy.
a bummer. Yeah.
Yeah. So my number one is technically a person. He doesn't have like superpowers, but he is like, I wouldn't call him a vigilante either. Like, he's a superhero to me. And it is Dick Grayson, Nightwing, or Robin.
Yeah, that tracks.
I like how, I mean, that was my first comic book ever was Batman, and I loved the Batman TV show where Dick Grayson was his sidekick, and he just wasn't as dark as Batman. And he would get pissed at Bruce for how dark he could get sometimes, and like almost like how like his narrow view of things. He's just very kind-hearted. I love his relationship with Alfred. Just a good guy, solid good heart. I'm gonna endorse his new comic book series next week as my endorsement, so I'll save that for then. But he just doesn't get enough recognition, I feel. He's been through a lot, and he still comes across as like a guy that almost all of the superheroes genuinely like. So that's my number one, Dick Grayson. I know it's technically not like he doesn't have superpowers, but if just going by superheroes, like I could not put him as my number one.
Dope. Yeah, I struggled a lot as to whether or not I was going to include Batwoman or any vigilante. But then I decided that if I can include vigilantes, my list would be far too long. So I had to make a distinction.
Yeah, I can't even categorize him as a vigilante. Like, that was like another thing I was thinking, like, is he technically a vigilante? And I was just like, no, he's not.
I wouldn't say so. Yeah. No, inclusion of Nightwing. Awesome. That was fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, me too.
Very cool.
Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Please reach out and share your thoughts with us. You can email us at podoffcourse@gmail.com, and you can also leave us comments on Twitter at podoffcourse. Aside from that, you can get us individually. I'm at Shop23 on Twitter and Instagram.
I'm at Ernie Greenbean on Twitter and Instagram.
And thank you so much for hanging with us through our second live broadcast. It wasn't terrible.
I don't think so. I was gonna tell you this afterwards, but I'll tell you it now. I think it's better because we can see each other, and so like the things that we would usually edit out are just long pauses because we're just waiting to see if the other one is gonna talk. But I don't think that's a problem anymore because we can see each other. So
yeah, and it's nicer that way. Like, I'd rather like look at you.
Yeah, I like looking at you
than not.
And
it's like a real conversation.
Yeah, and we can get it out faster this way. So like, unless y'all really hate it for some reason, and if you do, please tell us and we'll stop. But
yeah,
I think we'll do this moving forward, and likely I'm not going to say every Wednesday, but I'm going to say most Wednesdays after Supergirl airs. We'll do this, so keep an eye out on our Twitter, but we'll generally say Wednesday evenings.
And then I can probably get the pods out Thursday or Friday at the latest.
Yeah, because I can cut the audio real quick. So
nice.
So yeah, if you value time over maybe some of the finesse, then this is going to be the thing for you. But if for some reason you hate it, please tell us.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. See you next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.